and welcome to Remake TV. You are watching The Elephant in the Room, and I'm Jasmine Bowen. And today we're going to be talking about being gay in modern society and how it maybe is different from before and what kind of experiences they go through. But before we do that, we're going to remind our viewers about the contest. You see that blinking banner, win $500. It's really, really easy to do. All you have to do is tell your friends about the great videos that you see here on Remake TV. I know you do it anyway. Hey, Joe, I watched a great video last night. Why not get paid to do it? Enter your friends' information. It will just send them an email, and there you go, an entry to win $500 every month. Make sure to check it out, and in the last month of our contest, which is a secret, we will be giving away $10,000 just for telling your friends about the great videos on Remake TV. So do it now. Now, in our studio, we have Mike and Derrick. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So, you guys are together. How long has it been?
It's actually been 3 years and 2 days.
3 years and 2 days.
Yep.
Are you counting every day?
Well,
pretty much.
Correct answer is yes, but we just had our 3-year anniversary on Monday. So.
What did you do?
Well, this weekend, Mike took me to the Old Mill Inn in Toronto, which was a very nice surprise. I didn't even know it existed. A great location.
Yeah.
So we enjoyed that. And on Monday, the actual day of our anniversary, I had to plan the day, and we relived parts of our first date. So we went to dinner at Spring Rolls, and then we went for a movie, and then I had some tea at home for Mike and some gifts, and then we kind of stretched it out a bit. We went last night we went to the Golden Griddle. The one on College.
Elaborate.
Yeah, well, our first
date was elaborate.
Exactly. Yeah, we had went to the Golden Griddle on our first date after the bar, and we just talked till 5 a.m. So every 6 months we go back to the Golden Griddle, order the same thing, sit at the same booth, and.
Well, I hope they don't change the menu on you.
No, it's pretty simple.
They have been changing the size of the M&Ms.
Yeah, we have M&M pancakes, and they keep changing the size of the M&Ms.
It used to be M&M minis, and now it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's good if they're bigger ones. Anyway. All right, that's great. So 3 years, and it's been a good 3 years, I assume.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome.
You're still together, so it's a good 3 years.
We're still together.
I'll keep them.
You'll keep them?
Yeah.
All right, there, you're a keeper. Let's go back a little bit. Derrick, where did you grow up? Tell me about your upbringing.
I'm from Welland, Ontario, which is a city in the Niagara area. My background is French Canadian, so I grew up in a French Canadian home, learned to speak French first, and then learned to speak English with friends, essentially, when I was younger.
Well, you're doing good. You don't have a French accent.
No, well, I learned pretty much at the same time.
All right.
And I have a sister, and my parents are still together. Very close with my family, my grandparents, and my aunts, cousins, uncles, and yeah, I've gone to French first language schools since I was for elementary and for high school, and yeah, it's a pretty normal family, and I would say generally a normal upbringing. So
when did you first realize that you were gay?
I guess my inklings were in high school.
High school? So that's a little bit later than most.
No, I'd say high school would probably be average, but I didn't come out till I was 25, so I came out later than a few people.
Okay. Yeah, that one's a little bit later.
Yeah. So in high school, I knew I had an interest in boys, and but I just kept thinking, it's a phase. It's a phase. I dated some girls, and then went to university. Dated some girls again. Still had some interest for guys, but still thinking it's a phase. And then after university, I moved in with 2 good friends who were a gay couple. I moved into their basement. I was subletting their basement. And I just came to realize, that I was gay, and I knew it all along, but I just came to accept it. And there was a few things that I had to do to accept it for myself, because I had always wanted a family, and I had always pictured myself living with a woman the rest of my life. And for me to make that shift, that mental shift, took some time.
Right.
You know, I eventually came to realize that, yeah, I can have a family, yeah, I can have kids and everything that I wanted, but it just, I had to work it out on my own time. And then once I did, it was great. I felt relieved, and it just, you know, a huge weight was lifted off my shoulder.
Yeah. So coming out later than most, do you feel like you were at sort of a disadvantage, or you just felt like that was when you were ready?
It's when I was ready. I don't think it was a disadvantage at all. I think it was just, you know, it was the time that worked. I think it was better for me that I was more mature, and I was surrounded by a group of friends that I knew could accept me for who I was. So I came out first to my roommates, you know, the safest environment. It's two gay guys, right?
Yeah, they're pretty accepting, I assume.
Yeah. And then I came out to my best friend, and that was really tough for me, because, you know, he was a guy's guy, and he was a close friend, and I wasn't sure how he'd react, but he was great. Like he accepted me for who I was right away, and it was like it was never an issue. And then for my family, that was a little bit harder for me. I wasn't sure how it would go. I told my sister first, and she was great about it. But she's like, well, why, you should have come out a long time ago. Like I had thought you had decided. Oh. And so she was really welcoming, and she was totally okay with it. Then I told my mom, but my mom kind of, she asked me. So it was a little bit different there. We were having dinner, and she had noticed that I wasn't, you know, keeping in touch as much with them, and kind of had changed a bit. And it was more, you know, the change was more, I was coming out and I wasn't comfortable telling them at the time. So she had noticed there was that change, and essentially she asked me, you know, just like, do you not like girls anymore? And when if the person, I feel like if the person asked the question, they're ready to hear the answer. Right. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity, and told her. Yeah. We waited a little bit to tell my dad, because we knew it would be hard for him. And we told him, my mom actually told him, and he did take it hard. Like he had that same vision like I did, that I would grow old with a woman, would have a family, and for him, he thought that it would stunt it would limit me in life. Yeah. Having grown up with seeing how difficult it was for gay people, in his generation. Yeah. So it took him a little bit of time to adjust. Right. But on the scale of things, it was a few months for him to really to adjust, and then I met Mike 6 months later, and so it wasn't that long after that he met Mike, and he's been amazing and great so far. Wow,
it's good that you had a good support system all the way through. Yeah. And that your dad, you finally came around. Now, Mike, tell me your story. Is it different from Derrick's?
I'm not French.
All right.
No, so a little bit actually. It's pretty different. I grew up in a small town, Norwood, Ontario, population 1,300.
Wow.
My family, my parents divorced when I was 8. So I've got like 2 stepsisters, a stepbrother, a half-sister, a real brother. So stepmom, or common law mom, stepdad, dad, mom, stuff. So lots of everything, kind of a little bit of everything. So along the lines, it's easy to get kind of lost in there. But they're great. They're my family. So when the big question, the gay part, I looking back, I knew it when Saved by the Bell, Power Rangers,
so this was when you were younger.
This would have been like, I knew it on some level when I was about probably grade 6-ish.
Okay.
Give or take.
Okay.
Going home AC Slater, the Red Power Ranger, You know, those kind of emphasis.
That's fair enough.
I was like, hey, look at that. And they're not aging at all. So that was, you know, there was just little bits that I was like feeling that something isn't quite there. And when I was a kid, like I remember playing with my mom's Barbies, but so did my brother. You know, it was just, and in my family, like I very much grew up in a family typically where it would be like, we just want you to be safe. We want you to be comfortable and, you know, just do what you need to do. And so it was just never, you know, kind of went along the lines. I remember dreaming of growing up to be 18, I was going to write a personal. Like that was my goal in life when I was a kid, was I was going to write a man-to-man personal, because I read them in the Examiner, and as time went on and stuff.
Did you date girls in school?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, well, some sort of. You know, 2-day relationships, or I kept saying...
I think that's normal for anybody at
exactly,
that age, right?
I know. There's so many to choose from. I remember in grade 8. Like, grade 8 was a big turning point because I was, you know, I think I was the nice guy who wasn't intimidated by women. I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, people just talked to me, so I got asked out a lot by a number of women, and I always like, no, like, I'm waiting for the right one. I don't know you well enough. Let's be friends. It was grade 11.
I think you meant something else, or maybe you didn't know it yet.
I didn't know what it meant. Not really. And then it's always that looking back that's like, oh, duh. Like, you know, yeah, the best elementary school, if I only knew. Everyone else played doctor, but
so when did you officially decide?
It was grade 11, when things got a bit more complicated. I had been dating someone for, you know, 9 months, 2 weeks, and 1 day.
He keeps track.
He keeps track.
The big thing was we were friends all along, and it was 8 months, and that was the first time we made out. So this was a girl, and that was the only time we ever made out, and it was to Ricky Martin of all the people in the world.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah. And then it was shortly after I had a friend who had broke up with his girlfriend by coming out to her. Oh, okay. And I was like, how do you know? Like, so we started this letter writing back and forth. Like, how do you know that you're gay? How did you know? And we had this daily. So he'd write a letter one day, I'd write a letter another day. And we had this going on for a while. And then in the letters, we kind of made this bet that we would, you know, do stuff. and
like
if,
all teenagers.
Yeah, like all teenagers. It was very innocent. It just kind of felt like it was natural, and it felt comfortable, and I was much more excited, like just more into these letters than I was into this relationship with the girl. Then I kind of realized when we got to that moment when we're gonna do stuff, we ended up making out the entire night, me and this other guy, and it just felt right. Like, it was natural, it was easy, it was great.
Now, how about your family?
Yeah, so next for the story, so his name's also Mike. Mike made it really easy. We kind of had this on and off thing for a couple years. I didn't know what I was. Initially, I said I was bi. It was a lot easier to, you know, like, I still like girls, but also like guys on the side. So it was easier for me to kind of justify that. I tried to talk to my mom, and she'd say, hey, you know, we can take you to a doctor. I know someone at the hospital, you know, we can go talk to them. Maybe it's just a phase. And then it kind of got pushed back, and I said it again, and same answer, and then nothing. And then
I'm going to take you to a doctor?
Yeah. Well, you know, like, it's curable. It's a lifestyle.
I see.
It's a decision. It's a phase.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, meant well, maybe, but it didn't feel...
So your family was not very accepting in the beginning?
Not at the beginning.
Okay.
And that's, I guess, kind of the big next part was Mike and I became a bit more serious. He gave me flowers.
Aww.
You know, high school, big deal. Big deal. I got a dozen roses.
It's a big deal in high school when you
It's a big deal now.
It's a big deal to afford a dozen roses in high school.
So I showed up with these flowers, and Mom's like, who are those from? And I'm like, I tried to tell you. A lot of crying, a lot of, you know, you can't tell your grandparents. I told you could see a doctor. You dated Megan, you dated Sarah. What about, maybe even found the right person? And it was hard. Like, it was years ago, but I still, you know, when I think about it, it's still upsetting, to say the least. Like, I ran away to my high school. It was kind of my comfort zone. It was just like, you know, having my mom say that people won't accept you, and you could tell she was afraid and she didn't know. But at that point, when I was at my school, I decided, you know what, this time I'm not letting it go into the background. Like, I'm 18 years old at this point. It's part of who I am. I can't choose. Like, I'm not saying, hey, I want to be isolated and alone and draw my family away from me, so I'm going to be gay. Like, because if that was the choice, I would probably have chosen to be straight, because it's a lot easier.
Yes.
So that night, I'm like, you know what? They got to figure it out, and they're my family. So after that, like, I looked at boys in front of my mom. I'm like, hey, like, you know, eventually got up to like saying, hey, look at it, you know, look at his mom or his this or that. And I made sure Mike was around. Mike got a bit of the grunt of making me gay at the beginning. So it was kind of like this very slow thing. And over time, though, my mom really came a long way. And now she's like, you know.
I'm glad that you guys both have the acceptance of your family. And we will be right back on Remake TV. This is the elephant in the room, and we're talking to Mike and Derrick about their journeys being gay in this modern age. We'll be right back. Get a drink of water, fluff your pillows, and check out the next video.